CT side, and we can see the stats were there over the CT basis. And I feel like if any team gets a bad CT side, is in like anything less than 10 rounds, we're going to have problems. Real big problems. So Wisl will be up to the CT side first and foremost. They're out on the pistol round basis, already taking contact against the T side line. Taps forward to the P2Ks and the USPs, 1-for-1 trades. PHR holds on to 2 frags, but Victor deals on him, opening up the A site for the bomb plant. Sparrow's quick to the response.
Yeah, just absolute chaos with the trading game, and it works out for Fiend to now have an open A bomb site, get that bomb down. There is a wrap coming in from Goofy in the backlines. I wonder if the T's even expect this.
Taps on Jedka, leaning to look in from the mid control. Has caught Victor for a decent frag, so it's advantage for Wisl once again. Taps forward on Goofy, looking to catch these players in the back as well. They have seen where Bubble is, and he goes overwhelmed, all left towards Red Star. Caught by Sparrow at point blank, and it will be a pistol for Wisl to start.
Yeah, overall, it's been quite even with the pistol rounds to come in between Fiend and Wisl. I think it's now 3 up for Wisl, 2 up for Fiend. So we sort of haven't had like a commonality of one team winning a lot more pistols than another. It all really started off with just sheer aggression out to that donut position. Jedka to actually win this fight onto Victor. Didn't expect that to come in just because he's pre-aiming out to that right-hand side. Retake comes on. Surely we see a force here from Fiend. I mean, they bought it. They at least got a bomb down and a lot of damage, so you'd have to expect the buy.
Well, yeah, the rifles be coming in for Fiend. A tactical timeout taken by Fiend as well. And I kind of like that given the lack of attacks we saw from the previous map up. But it's a little bit too early for my liking, but at least it comes in. Something that Wisl could take notes from. Fiend immediately out with the guns in and looking to try and force the issue back for the second round. And I guess that their main concern is all going to be about using that Bulgarian aggression, trying to make something out of the T-side half, because that could be where you win and lose this match.
Yeah, it's not only that for me, though. It's just getting off to a good start for Fiend. You have to imagine, you put yourself in their shoes, and they've always been slow to act. And if they've actually got that momentum to start having a lead, or at least a competitive scoreline at the beginning of this map of Ancient, it doesn't feel like they're just always on the back foot, and they're always trying to come back.
M4 watching at the edge of that smoke, hoping to catch some sort of T-side presence down there and wrap. Nobody's out in position. Being play a bit carefully around their angles. They're not going to make any silent work happen. They're firing away with the Eagles blinded. Unable to catch any early damage.
No, Dreamer's just going to try and wait for a timing, a sound cue, a walkout. Resmoke comes through from main. He can start swinging in. Sees that donut player. All just comes down to the fight that does not get one out. The teammate is there to try and get the trade. It's too late for Han.
Decent enough frag on Dreamer at least. 5 on 4. Galil waiting back. Jedka to lean up with the M4. Spotted, sprayed. Takes the engagement, but is unable to land the frag for Definite. PHR just backed up here at Donut, and the M4 continues watching, hoping he can see Han sometime soon, but still not able to spot the man. I think he might hold presence of the A site for now. The bomb could commit here, but it's got 3 CTs to get through.
I can't believe he's still alive. Honestly, you don't normally see a player on a lurk surviving for as long as he is. And I guess for Wisl, they just want to play it quite retake heavy, just give the respect up to Han. And for Fiend, time's running low. They've got to get this bomb down.
Eventually, they'll try and smoke off the site, get the bomb onto it, and should be able to secure that plant. Very edge of the site, though. The spray's going to be a little bit off for Jedka as the plant does get secured. Han, meanwhile, will strike back at Temple. On towards CT, Sparrow's going to fall. Blind Fire will dish out some damage to Marcos out of Donut, unable to catch PHR, who's also low. Goofy finally ends up falling. Han to see the head of Jedka, but Jedka a little bit quicker to the trigger in this one. 3v3 scenario, and the CT's still working, and they've got the defuse on Marcos. Fiend will find Victor, and Red Star lines up to both those players combined to hold the second round for Fiend.
And we go back and forth for at least a little while. Dreamer gets caught off in that walkout straight away. Han staying alive. And Red Star just putting in the goods. You can see the way that he's able to transfer those last couple of players. Time stalling is pretty decent. And then these couple of kills is what ends the whole round. First coming through from Fiend. And Visser on the bite back. We'll see a scout out for PHR, not for Sparrow.
Yeah, it's Eagles in around that scout. Sparrow was the man of the hour there for Vista in the previous map up, and not sure whether they're not trusting him off the back of losing that choke, but it is what it is. PHR will lean in initially towards that main entrance, will look for Fiend players, may have spotted that bomb. Hasn't caught a casualty for it and just backs off towards the back line.
Now, I wonder for Sinners, right? They're going to be waiting in the grand final tomorrow, Jay. Are they looking at this game today and just thinking, I don't know what information to pull. I don't know what we can try and back ourselves up with this next game, because it has been a wild series that you wouldn't normally expect it to go down in this kind of a fashion for these two teams. And at least for Fiend, with the regroup out to the B site, this is going to be an easy hit. They've got one player to deal with, Sparrow.
Caps on the Eagles. Martov's into the back lane here over on the B site. Commitment, it should get planted. Wisl, what kind of damage can they do? What can they deny? I don't think they can deny the bomb plant per se. They've gained open access to the site. The plant should be secured. Pharaoh's going to get fallen by the part of Han. He continues extending out to see two more CT players all the way back at spawn. Digging in a Goofy out of cave, caught off by Red Star. And that might have been the best chance of Fiend taken away.
Yeah, just overwhelming the bomb site. For Wisl, they've got more players out on A than they do on B, and even the cheater position just can't find much at all. Dreamer being able to deal with PHR, and well, just see an easy site take, really. Everyone finding picks, so no one really going too undefeated in that round. Wisl not finding much. They'll bring some weapons into the next. Do you know what I was just thinking about as well, Jay? You know how on Nuke, on the lower bomb site, can't do it on the upper bomb site anymore. You used to be able to like plant on the top of it. You can still at lower at B, where you can plant sort of on top, right? So I was thinking to myself, do you reckon if you got the tower forward, you could plant on top of the totem? Here on Ancient? Probably need a few people.
Something tells me that that's not how... I don't think that Valve extended the bomb plant
Imagine
angle,
that,
the
though.
bomb plant area to the top
like,
of the totem.
I mean, triple boost, yeah.
Look, if you want to go in on a private server, no clip up there and give it a try, then be my guest, because I'd love to
I bet no
know.
one's tried it. I bet no one has.
Probably because it's the most useless strat. Like, can you even... How many players do you boost up on top of that totem? It needs to be like a tower boost, like overpass, right? So...
It's got to be a lot.
Well, Jedka not taking a lot away from the mid control. He has found a pick at least. Dreamer held off to start. Damage done to Marcos, and Jedka could be easy pickings later on down the road, but they're going to back off away from the T-side contact.
It's a decent start on this eco, and they're just hoping in for as much damage as possible. Fiend, they've got a lot of mid control. I like the way they've been able to slip a couple of players into Donut. It's going to make it difficult for the A defense to be able to deal with this play.
Little over a minute. There they go with this here. Deagle facing. Takes a good shot. Jedka with another good kill. 2 down for Fiend. Looking for a bit more. Seeing 2 more players. Now the bomb's been spotted. Red Star and Bubble can get those trades in, but PHR Scout setting over at main. It's a 3v3 situation. Do they read him? Yes, they do. He still gets the shot off on Red Star. Drops that bomb. Brings the advantage back in for the CT side.
They can't really extend too far wide. They've just got to try and get this bomb down and play out the post plan. And for Wisl, because it has been so slow for Fiend, they're allowed to get into some good positions. Bubble now catching out for the donut entrance. They know that Sparrow's playing out here, and PHR, they have the information on where both players are. They can even slip that bomb back into B if they like.
20 seconds. PHR still watching at the crossfire. Bubble not even required to find Sparrows. That is Victor to get both those kills at the back of the site. And that's that third for Fiend. Vista doing damage. Can't afford the guns out as well here, so it's probably going to be reset potential against Fiend.
I don't know if you're in the same boat as me though, Jay, but I look at that as a missed opportunity. Yeah, it's just an eco. There's not much firepower in that round. It's still a 5-on-3. They've got decent positions on that A side. They should be winning that round for my liking.
Works on, fast plays out, Fiend fast into the A site. PHR caught dead immediately by Red Star. Looking to the back lanes as well. He recognizes there's someone behind those boxes. AWP spots him in Larkos, gets caught. 5v3. Orpa not ready for Jedka though. Victor's there for the trade responsive, and Fiend just exploding up to the site now. 2 left on Vista's part. The bomb plant should be secured, and these 2 are going to back off.
Yeah, that was pacey. And even there was some missed util. I think on top of the donut position, there was a smoke just sitting on the roof there. So we saw for Fiend, because it was so quite fast into that bomb side, it was quite hectic. And it meant that it was difficult for them to get everything in order. What wasn't difficult was the immediate entries. Victor doing work again, Red Star chiming in, even Harm with the AWP being able to deal with that default player. And Fiend, they're looking decent here on the T side. This is 4 rounds in a row from them.
They're not going to be too happy with their single round. They wanted their pistol. Every conversion since then has been all towards Fiend's side. I've got the 4th stage loss bonus coming in the next round. A couple of kills coming from Sparrow as well, but will lose his life in the end, so there won't be a lot of cash available for this. They could probably half-play with upgrade pistols. Nothing major for the next round, thanks to that weapon being lost, though. Damage was done to Fiend, at least.
Yeah. You can't really be that happy with it, though. Yeah, damage has been done. You've got to put rounds up. And now, does it come down to a game of mentality? Looking at where Wisl have been, knowing that they had the best chance in this lower bracket final to take it in a 2-0 fashion, that now they're getting rolled over on Ancient, you start thinking to yourself, is it already over? Obviously, that's not the case, right? But that might be things that you start thinking about if you're Wisl.
That's the one key tipping point you mentioned in the pre-game, and for good reason. Like, they had the perfect opportunity, literally the perfect opportunity to close this out. Han and Co are just putting up more and more frags, and for the first time you can see that Fiend have a lead, and a pretty decent lead above Wisl. So it's not out of impossibility that they just lost their confidence and they've lost their line of form. This Fiend are looking lights out. Wisl, they are lighted out.
The scary aspect isn't just that Fiend have got off to a good start, it's just that it's T-side. And that is going to make things all that more difficult for Wisl going into the second half. PHR could find a pick in mid, so there's some damage being done. I'm kind of surprised Fiend are going hunting here. I don't know what they're trying to get out of it.
More stats to pad their HLTV rating, perhaps? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe they want to overtake Red Star as our player of the team. You never know.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, very true.
Hans again putting up a decent case for himself. He's always been in the head-to-head comparisons for good reason. Got on 2 frags in this round, but no further contact established. Fiend will not go too far on the overextension. Winning the matchup is moderately important, I want to say. And they got a decent money build as well with 4 players staying alive. So that 1 rebuy for Bubble, money could stack. Guns in for Vista as well. 5-1 to the board. Fiend are in the lead.
You even notice with their winning streak, yeah, they've won 5 games in a row, 4 of which have been 2-0s. You also look at the caliber of those teams. 2 of the 5 were in the top, 15 in the world, and then the other ones are in the top 30. So you've got some very high-skilled and caliber teams that they've beaten recently. So to see them struggle in Map 1 and Map 2 is kind of surprising from Fiend's perspective. What we're seeing here on Ancient, though, is what we should expect.
Smokes and flashes set. Incendiary. Removed from play by Jedka, Red Star, and Victor. Well, there's one man in cave, but how far extended is he? We'll give away a bit more specifics on his position there with the wall bang sprays, attempts, Molotovs. Want to extend towards him, but they will drive him out of position, so he falls back into the B site.
Another B-side execution. Marcos quite wide on the angle. Don't expect that at all. Easy fight. It's very dry for the Ds.
A second face as well against Han. Catches him all the same. Vista find their 5-on-3 and make it 2 as Goofy catches Bubble off guard out of the Candle's entrance. Now Dreamer and Red Star holding on to position. Good kill for Jedka back on Dreamer. Red Star with 1 good casualty to get a trade in, but it's coming far too late and it will not turn into a clutch round. As Vista get their second up on the CT board.
Just that off angle you're not normally expecting. Typically the NWP is playing further over to that left-hand side. And even for Han, he goes, okay, my teammate's fallen. I'm going to look for a peek. I'm going to try and get us back into the 4v4 situation. Instead, that just doesn't happen at all. Everything just gets combined on. And now for Wisl, they can go for the double orbs moving forward.
And Fiend will take their second tactical timeout.
I like it.
I do. This is what Vista should have been doing all the time. They lost that first round, they would have been able to take a mentality. I'm still salty about it, yes, I know.
He's never going to give in.
I am right, though. I am right.
Yeah, for sure. I'll give you that.
Fiend having to play the disciplined style here on the T-side line, because if they can maintain a good T-side, which they've already done a pretty decent job at, they could make the difference between them and Vista taking the matchup right here. It's out to the mid defaults. Double orb set up into the Vista side. Marcos set with his over on main, over on the A site. Back site for Sparrow with his AWP on B. And Fiend in defaults towards B lane.
Yeah, got to think too for Wisl how they're going to utilize these double orbs. Just use Marcos as an anchor player down on the A site to look into either a donut ramp or out to that A main area. Allow Sparrow to keep his eyes on to this cave position. And for Fiend, a lot of emphasis back down onto trying to see if they can fight the AWP early round.
Flashes in, smokes up, AK's wrapping in for Bubble. Goofy with his M4, Han with his orb, sees his shoulder and lands it perfectly in his collarbone. Great kill swing, back in for a second, jumping around that corner, getting Sparrow next up. It's a 5v3, he's inserting himself back out towards Temple, even up against the AWP. Marcos. This is going to be an easy frag for Marcos, not for Han. He was so ready to take it, but the B-side execution could still come through for Fiend.
Yeah, only I was the one that picked up that was supposed to be the other way, but it goes around, and for Wisl, it's a way back into the round. It gives them a pick back in. The B defense is so passive, so all they can do is hope to spam through these smokes, get as much damage in as possible, and even Bubble's looking to take the fight, take the aggressive. PHR does still win out the fight. 3v3, this is actually looking winnable now for Wisl.
Flash out, so now Jenny will take face in. His AK only goes so far with it. Victor turns it back towards the favour of Fiend. The AWP's now here on site, scoping in, but falling out. They'll grab both of the AWPs, in fact, save the double AWP setup as Fiend get to 6. Han throwing such disruption into the mix that ultimately they just, as you mentioned, go passive on that B site, allowing the main T4s to take it, and there was no way in from Vista for there.
I don't want to put too much pressure on Han here, right? But this is a guy that's been a pro player for less than 2 years. He was on Fate, he was on Blue Jays, now he's hit over here at Fiend. And I started thinking to myself, I mean, you and I, Jay, we saw the likes of Poison and Cirque in the early days, right? When they were still in the Bulgarian scene, when they were still coming up. This guy is something else. I look at him and he always puts a smile on my face. He's got that X factor. He's got the ability to just make amazing stuff happen. And it's just here. Like, the first kill is such a crack angle. And then even follows up with 2. Yeah, he doesn't quite beat that rotation. Knows where the last AWP is. And it's just information being gained.
Fiend. I'm going to stack up 6-2 now to the T-board. The flash is going over. Bubble. The work in with the AWPs out of Han, looking up and into the main position. This time not getting nearly as aggressive as he did before. Taking a bit of damage as well in the early part of the round. Fiend leaning in towards Ram, going to go out for the B execution very early. It's only Sparrow stands here, only lands the tag shot, refaces, eventually gets his wall back onto Victor. Red Star there with a responsive and smoke down against PHR. Back up is quick to arrive from Goofy, but PHR just blind fires will find the head of Red Star. Bomb should get picked up and planted regardless as Han waits for the rotations and grabs Jedka.
Yeah, doesn't quite know there's another donut player, and Bubble's just going to try and see if he can extend on the other side of that smoke. Hope some more utility can go down out to those backlines. Him and Dreamer need to work together, and actually Bubble falls. Dreamer trying to line them up. He almost does so. They know exactly where Han is.
Yeah, Marcos there with the flank of the AWP will catch him. So wonderfully done there at window, as it will be a third to the board of Vista at last. They can even grab those double AWPs once again. Goofy will be able to do so. And there you go, a really nice defensive hold there. I mean, it felt so good initially from the part of Team Fiend when they caught off that AWP on the 1-for-1 trade, and with the AWP also in the mid-control cutting off rotations. If Han stuck around there, maybe that could have been a very different story, but at the same time, he also had to get to the retake because Dreamer just couldn't hold on against 2.
Yeah, that kill for PHR spamming through the smoke was not the round breaker, but it gave them such an edge in, and you can see the way that it sort of goes down, that Bubble and Dreamer can't quite work off one another. Dreamer's going passive towards ramp when Bubble's overextending in the backlines. Maybe the miscommunication of a slight adjustment there. Both players not quite on the same page, and it allows Wisl to find their third on the retake eventually.
Red Star and Bubble Molotov in Jedka. Falling out of dodge, smokes down. Oppression on Bubble's part. Keep him away from the cave entrance for the time being. To step back and cheater as Han again leans in from mid. A bit more aggressive this time. He'll get out towards the window control and join his teammates in lane.
Yeah, they're trying to see if they can force an overfight. Jedka, oh, making that slide sound cue. They'll know exactly where he is in this cave position, and he can't really do much about it now that the smoke's dissipated. He can't fall back.
Holding back and waiting for now. Smokes on from the CTs will keep him suppressed. Red Star nade a little bit further back behind Jedka. His M4 will reveal his position. Give the indication there's somebody out here. They won't be able to get into the site so easily. 30 seconds though. Fiend have got to commit.
And they've got to go for the B-site XE, and being able to find this pick or drawing the attention over from Jedka and Cave could be everything. That's going to isolate the AWP on the site itself. Jedka moving forward with those flames. They do have a backstab in, and actually, Goofy's able to find that impact. Bubble only gets one on the site. Even getting the bomb down is going to be a struggle.
Yeah, Goofy finds his kill through the wall by spraying Thorn on towards Victor. Dreamer called off by Sparrow. And there's the 4th round for Wisl Krakow, finally getting them started themselves off and getting some momentum back towards their board. Fiend not successful with the bomb plot, not successful with the execution in general here. The backstab worked well, the AWP held on Bubble, only with that one casualty against Marcos, and that's it.
You could see the intent that Wisl want to fight when that smoker walls go down, rather than actually just getting behind it and saying, 5v5 retake, we've got a decent backstab in for Goofy, let's just play it passive. They keep the pressure on, they keep looking to engage into further fights, and it allows the AWP and the M4 to just back off one another. And Fiends going into round 11 don't really have much to work with. You've got, what, Dreamer on a Deagle and armor, there's only some util for Bubble.
Bashes over as Red Star moves in. Han, not even going to be the first casualty. It's PHR and Sparrow to hold down the crossfire. 3 kills between those 2 players, Dreamer with 1 casualty. Oh, that transfer's good for the AK. But it was against the Eco Pistols, so it's only so impressive of them. 5 with the ball of Vista. Now within 1 of the Fiend lead. And Tees have the buyback.
Oh, class, that was pretty impressive. That was good stuff coming in for Jedka. And for Wisl, they don't lose a lot to the Eco, so that's the important notion there. AK being able to get the job done at the end. 5th round coming in for Wisl. And for Fiend, this lead that looked for a moment like it could have stretched for quite a while is actually starting to close. Ooh.
Awkward run boost attempt right there. Nathan flashes over PHR. Trying to aggress out towards the ramp position. I don't think Red Star's seen him. Either is Victor. They'll be blind firing regardless through the wood wall. And I think they got a tag off from Goofy for it. Flashbang forward. PHR will try and look for Red Star, but Red Star able to get credited with a kill.
Just trying to see if they can spam down, catch a lucky bullet, at least hear a tag, get some information back. Jedka's thinking the same. And that overly aggressive move normally goes the way of the CT side when you catch them off, and Red Star's able to turn back in, find some further impact. Fiend's definitely using a fair bit of this A site, even though we have seen quite a lot of B hits, at least early rounds, and when it comes to the default itself, they are showing that presence towards A.
Gonna lean into that A site for the hit here, Fiend. Only 1 man really to deal with in that donut presence of Marcos. The second AWP Sparrow is watching back at CT spawn. He's trying to get to position on CT. Marcos is going to take that first contact and land a tag. Han barely even giving up a pixel. That laser's going to take him down. No, he evades it. Just barely gets back out of dodge. As the smokes come in, the T-side players will commit. Marcos in the site. Back of boxes. Sees 1 player jump facing. Shoulder baits of Han will dish out some damage. The second opportunity will go the way of Marcos to a 4 versus 4. The second flick of Red Star, not quite as decent though. Smoke back at Temple. Bomb could try and cross and get planted.
Yeah, time is low. They really need to find some picks, and Goofy's going to be able to extend out from this donut entrance. Oh, Jedka actually comes away with a couple of Victor's last one left. Does deal with the first. Knows exactly where Sparrow is. Does he fake him out with the bomb plan, or just try and get him down? The USP thinking about making the aggressive move. Victor not looking the right way at the right time. Unfortunately, being on low HP too, and Wisl with an all-important clutch.
Yeah, all-important play for Jedka. He was the winner of the round for that one. Coming in from Temple and lining up those 2 casualties. I mean, Goofy's pressure in from Donut probably shouldn't have been really left there. I would have thought that someone from the Fiend side would have accounted for it, but not to be. They're so focused on the site, and Red Star got caught switching weapons in particular. Jedka again, those 2 casualties you saw right there, and then just getting the info on Victor. The USP pulled out by Sparrow and all. Well played, patiently played. And at least they got a bomb plant here. Fiend can buy back, but Vista have equalized.
Yeah, that crossfire was pretty much everything. And now for Fiend, you start thinking to yourself, okay, is the fire gone? We had a very good streak of rounds of 5 in a row from them. We're now seeing a streak back from Wisl of 4 in a row. And these double orbs, they're finding some damn good impact.
No orbs out for the T-side. On the contrary, the blind sprays of the M4 doing decent as well. Victor, Dreamer, and Bubble all tagged up. And Hard as well, actually, all tagged up in the early round for Fiend. Wasn't to rethink their strategy. They're not going to go for the B commitment, at least not yet.
But they don't have a lot of nades, so whatever it may be, it's going to have to be quite dry, and even the follow-up HE, just being able to get some more chip damage in. In a round like this, you probably want to run out of default and try and set up a star player. Try and see if you can sort of squeeze a gap in, see if you can work with some information. There's still got a lurk of Han playing out from elbow. The majority of players are looking to get back into Cheetah and then take some cave control.
45 seconds to the clock. Fiend trying to press up into the B player once again. A bit more aggression from Victor. The incendiaries onto the cave entrance. Press the split play, but the main execution from Ramp is going to be their big concern. Jedko suspects that Victor might be in the corner, so that he goes down as Victor is engaged upon. That tight gap is going to be exploited by Jedko. Great kill in on Victor. Han there with a responsive. Dreamer's just slow walking. Red Star going to plant pretty open, but no CT players can think about their angle. Then A will come in, probably take him down as well. 2 kills back in with the CT forces, with the continuous taps coming from Mr. Krakow. 4 versus 2 towards their favor. AK swapped out, 2 Han's going to wait.
An incredibly tight post plant for the T's to work with. They don't have a lot of space, they don't have nades, they need someone to show up, and even for Hardy stuck in this totem position does at least isolate the first.
M4 swings out for PHR, it's all on Dreamer, and Sparrow just as quick to the trigger. Brilliant hard retake there from Wisl. They will find their 7th to take the lead away from Fiend.
And this is kind of what we can understand. We know the way that Ancient is. Yes, Fiend got off to a very good start, but it is that CT bias. So knowing where they sit, it still makes a lot of sense to see Wisl coming back into this and start to come into their own. I am getting concerned of just how long this streak goes on, because if anything goes down in the same sort of patterns that Inferno or Overpass did, we could see a monster streak of rounds here for Wisl.
Imagine we might just do. Possibility for the half to be gained here. It still would be 9-6 at best, so Fiend can have some success taken away from this half already. If they can make it an 8-7 half for their own accord, then that could be everything to them. Good shot in for Marcos, reading hard and already on the boost box. Gets that kill to open up the round for Wisl again.
That's a risky peek. You have a feeling that he's going to be boosted up there. You want to try and repeat the angle. Goofy going to light him up, get a couple of kills. And now for Fiend, recovering this round is pretty much near impossible. Dreamer playing out from mid, can't find anything. Marcos with the AWP, finding further impact. Great hold from both Marcos and for Goofy.
Great 3K for Marcos, the AWP doing well in that one. And you mentioned Goofy as well in the K position. That was basically the round-winning play, dropping that bomb. Tactical timeout taken by Fiend as well in this freeze time, as we can watch a few more of these kills and how well placed they were. As Wisl have gained the half for 8-6, can Fiend still make it a 7th?
Well, money's not great, and no bomb plant means no extra cash injection, so realistically, what are we going to see? Scout out for Han, Galil's for pretty much everyone. There's not going to be much on the table for them to work with.
Red Star will get 1 AK. Han going Galil in this one. They might not opt for the scout. Eagles, utility, more utility based than I thought it would be. 3 rifles will get bought in by Fiend, but it's not exactly a great buy. I think they recognize that. Wisl, 3 AKs on the contrary. They've got a lot more AKs than Fiend do. That should indicate something at the very least here for the CT basis.
Yeah, PHR just thinking about an aggressive early info move, going into that A main position, trying to put some early frags up. Doesn't quite happen. And for Fiend, it's actually a bit more intent to potentially go into this A site later into the round. And you got to think to yourself too, how are these Deagles going to be able to bait the rifles? Because realistically, Red Star, Han, and Bubble are going to be the 3 guys to watch out for in this round.
Eagle just wrap in Dreamer. It says the T's try and walk their way up and into the main control. PHR having back up in the AWP right behind him, looking onto that main entrance. No T-side contact just yet. They're going to split in from here and Donut. It will be Bubble that leads that charge. I don't think anyone is actually watching Donut. They might have to be considering it here. A little in. Sparrow does turn his attention towards that angle, but going off immediately. AK in for PHR, only finds the 1 pick. So advantage for Fiend here on the post plant.
Just that walkout being so successful, Jenko going to push forward off that in
molly.
No way! Gets away with so many picks! He turns it into a 3K. Red Star can answer back with at least a trade and try and set himself up for the clutch.
That should not have been allowed. The Molotov forced him forward. The team assumed he was just going to go falling back. And now Red Star to clutch it. He's gotten 1 frag, 2 frags, but not the triple. Goofy holds on to it. The defuse stuck and all. And it will be 9 for this to close out a very awkward start in this map up at a 3-round advantage for their CT side. But that's their CT side over and done with. Time for Fiend to make up the rounds after the break.
When you look at the scorelines, Jay, it seems that in the first map, the second map, and the third map, the first halves have been very successful coming through from Wisl. And now, even with that streak of 7 in a row to get them into this position, this pistol could be the driving force to get them into even further. Kit and HG to come out for Victor, full nades to come for Bubble, and for the T side, outside of Marcos, we're seeing a lot of Glocks to move forward to try and see if they can get quickly into that lane position.
There was one caveat towards the CT side. So remember the ancient from yesterday from Vista, they had a pretty respectable T side, given the fact of how very CT side of this map can be. And it was in the second half where they were able to go back and forth against Sinners. So here against Fiend, can they get a pistol that would set themselves up even more greatly for the map win? PHR, kill on the first and that second, looking for the triple, not quite. Dreamer lines up 2, Bubble gets 1 as well. Sparrow wraps around the corner to a 2-on-2 scenario. That bomb is on the side, but backup is slow to arrive.
Now, Victor could try and spam through this sort of smoke, right? But what can he really find? He needs to wait for that contact. And for Bubble, it all just comes down to the time. They've got the kits. They can afford to slow it down.
I don't know where Sparrow is, though. Is he back top? Is he close? The gun barrel reveals his angle, looks left and right, sees them both, has the info now for his teammate to hold, and Victor will get caught. Marcos gets them both, and that is an all-important pistol for Vista to win.
And it just starts off by Red Star being so out of position. They knew that there were some donut players coming in. I'm not sure why the swing came out as wide as it did. Yeah, at least Dreamer kind of recovers that round to bring it back to a 2v2, but the retakers just can't deal with those two players. Marcos really stepping up to back up his in-game leader, and Wisl, the streak continues.
That it does. 10 to the board. Fiend forcing the buy back down here for the conversion round. Eagles, CZ, Scout. Really dire straight stuff for them now because the CT side need to get a decent start. I mean, it could still recover from this, but this is not the ideal position to be in. Dreamer caught the 10 points of health, tapped up, does get a couple of tags off at least on the part of PHR, so there is damage that can be capitalized upon here. The bullets continuing to spray forward in the back of the A lane position. No casualties though, all 5 players can rotate for the retake.
Bubble extending forward, actually deals with that first player. Finally, a trade comes in from Marcos, and another Diggle pick in for Victor. This is looking good.
4-on-3, Fiend could still have the conversion steal. It's a case of timing here for Vista. And one player still going for a late lockout towards mid. The CTs are already acting. They found a kill on PHR. Marco's got a hold on his lonesome. Sees several players, gets 2 kills for it. And he's on this triple. Dreamer knows that he's tagged up heavily, but he gets his triple in the end. Not the quadra of Victor. And Marcos will just hold the round for the ace overall. 11 to the board of Vista.
A beautiful round to come in from Marcos to recover it, because my goodness, everybody else on his team is pretty much getting pressured. Spur still having that backstab coming through from the donut position. Hahn getting on top of the signpost, giving himself a great high advantage. And he feels as if Marcos is going to struggle. Instead, he just continues to deliver, isolating so many of those 1v1s, moving and strafing left and right behind that big box. And Fiend, they can't win the force.
1 HP for Marcos as well on those last 2 kills, so credit where it's due because it could have been easily traded. USP is out for Dreamer. He's found Sparrow. Goofy's going to get the Mat 10 kills and out towards Ramp, though. And the USP misses out everything. Sparrow does get caught at least, but PHR doing all the work. The Mat 10s reign supreme. 1 kill does come in for Dreamer. Back up towards Cave is being counteracted by PHR. Eventually should find that pick alongside Marcus's AK is getting red star. 12 to the board of Vista Krakow. 6 for Fiend. Bonus round inbound for the T's. And the pistol in conversion setting themselves up wonderfully for the basis of what could well be their T-half win.
I don't know how we've continued to be in an ocean where Fiend just struggle against the streak, don't they? They're up, what, 6-2, and we're now 6-12. 10 rounds in a row to come in for the polls. And these double orbs, and really this rifle round, need to find impact immediately. Otherwise, for Wisl, they'll be on victory road of taking this map.
Mac 10s and AKs, again, bonus round for Vista, so they don't even have to win this to still be on a decent stead of the economy game. Be nice if they could do, though, because to get 13-6 for the economy being wrecked for Fiend, that could be everything towards it. That could already be the map itself. Red Starters get 1 trade through that smoke to a 4 versus 4. The bomb's on site, and a kill comes in against Bubble as well.
Yeah, this round just gets siphoned off completely. Fiend are forced behind the utility. They can't really retake. The money's not there. And what I love in that setup is when I think about Fiend on the defense on A, Dreamer is an incredible A anchor and doesn't often get flustered. That one there, where's he looking? He's looking donut, he's looking main, he's kind of getting caught in the site. And from there, he just isn't even able to find a pick with that secondary big green.
Now Hans all just looking for exits against PHR. PHR giving up this Mat 10 won't be anything major against the CT line. I'll clear out the CT spawn. His other two rifle teammates going hunting in the back lines over towards lane. I think Victor might get caught. All the case of timing for Sparrow where he places his crosshair. Oh, what a shot. Looking in for the next player back of Wood. I don't think he'll catch him. The Orpa also gets out of dodge, so those two weapons stay in. But that's a 13 for Wisl. The streak just continues to spiral out of control. Fiends are in trouble.
Yeah, they are. And it could honestly be payback for Wisl to say, hey, we gave you a chance, right? We were up by such a considerable margin in the second map. We gave you an in. We're not going to give you an in on the third. We're not going to let that happen. Again, though, you do have to think about the scorelines. 13-5 on map 1, 13-7 on map 2, and now 13-6. So if all the other maps have gone the way that they did, where it's always been down to the wire, it's been going, what, 29, sort of 30 rounds, we could still be on for a close ancient hair.
Funny how you mentioned the commonality of 13. It feels like it's the unlucky number for Wisl, and I know I make that as a joke, but it has been very unlucky for them in this series so far. If Fiend are going to fight a comeback, it will be right here, right now, but they've only got so much to work with here. Half by with Deagles, Mag 7, AWP, and the M4 for Red Star. Peeking in for the AWP. Han does catch Marcos at least. That's a start.
That's an opening round advantage that's desperately needed in a buy like this, and a round with this sort of setup. Wisl are going to try and see if they can go in for the same peak again. At least Han, he's moved away this time.
Should be able to recognize that. Is there a flash over? There will be. Preemp's a little bit far off here for Sparrow. Jedka does find Han through the wall bang. That's a really good kill. Victor can grab the AWP. He's focusing on the Deagle though, firing back. Bubble gets a Mag 7 shot in, and Dreamer does pick up that AWP to turn it to a man advantage. Fiend have got a 3-on-2, and they may extend it even further. Goofy's looking to make his way out of ramp, but he falls back to grab the bomb.
Yeah, Bubble's gone all the way into T-Spawn. Goofy, oh, does he read this? Bubble's making way too much noise. Easy pick to come in for Goofy. And now the information, it's a lack of it, and Sparrow just misses that opportunity of getting an AWP pick.
He does have the info that one CT is rotated back to the A site. Do they think it's the AWP? Do they believe it might be an M4? One player per site on a split up for Fiend. Wisl, no matter where they go, they're going to face resistance. But are they ready for the AWP resistance? He can isolate both these picks individually. Noise being made out towards mid. Sparrow is trying to draw attention away from the main hit. Smokes down. AK just baiting that AWP to regress. Red Star's ready. AK does the eagle, and the AK wins the fight. Bomb will get committed. Does Red Star go for this?
He has to, mate. Like, he has to back himself in this one. They know they're going to buy next round. 1v2, you go for it.
Low HP on Goofy and Sparrow. Scope's being heard as well. He knows that there's one man in wood. Will he go for the wallbang sprays? No, he won't. No util either. And Smoke's now towards the left lane or the right lane. Not going to be very viable at all. Swing out. Goofy's got the flick. And Wisl have 14. No CT rounds for Fiend here. And they're running out of time. 2 to go for Wisl to eliminate Fiend in third.
And you can just imagine how frustrated Bubble is, because it looks like he's got the play, he's got the backstab, he's just getting read by Goofy. And as soon as this fight comes in, it's pretty much the round done, isn't it? That's the chance of, okay, Dreamer, get us into a 1v1. Get that one pick, allow Red Star to get into the clutch, and it just doesn't happen at all. Aggression coming through from mid. This is going to catch the CTs off. So many flashes. The CTs can't see anything. They know the Han's out here wide, and Red Star backs him up.
All-important frag for him to take to get something started here for Fiend. They need an opening kill to turn into an actual main sort of setup, a main round for them. Need to stop Wisl from getting to 15, because that would be series point. And they know it's going to be impossible to come back at 15-6. 14-6 is doable, if difficult. But one step up will cost you everything if you get to that map point. Flashes over. Marcos looking into the battle, and neither side can get the kill, but Han can get the tag.
He's able to reposition slightly, keep himself on that angle. Victor, they know exactly where he is out to cave. Can't do anything about it. It's actually Bubble to pick on the contact that they swing together. And now for Wisl, they've got to try and bring this round back in a 3-on-5 when even Marcos is so damn low. This is not easy.
Molotov's ahead of the cave entrance. Red Star watching out from the mid control, expecting there to be some sort of presence. AK's revealed himself at cave. Han's ready for it. Good shot on to left here for Wisl. The Fiend took their time getting back into control on the CT side, but this looks to be their window into the match again. One rotator coming in towards main. Probably should bolster up the Marcos They're going for the A hit, or do they even bother with it? They might just save the weapons.
Yeah, there's not really much point in going for it. Because, yeah, the economy's not going to be really wrecked if they go in for the 2v5. The problem is, they don't want to give further AKs up to the CTs because there's already going to be some that can be recovered. So just hang back. Don't waste this opportunity of holding on to an AWP and an AK. You can buy into the next round. And for Fiend, that is their first round after 12 in a row from Wisl. So that would have been a good feeling for the Bulgarians to know finally we're able to get some pressure off of our backs. And it all really started with that first pick of Red Star backing up the AWP of Han.
Fiend will find their first on the CT side, but only after letting 5 go to the favour of Wisl. A long way back in, a long road of recovery for the Bulgarian team. Nades and Molotovs. Sparrow has to flash his way in towards this smoke position over at Sheeta. Blind firing, hoping that Fiend are going to overextend. They'll try to boost one player up at the window. They still don't see anything.
Yeah, Red Star making some further noise, trying to get out of trouble, and being backed up by Han being scoped in on that window position in case there is a frag to come out. And for Wisl, there's a lot of grouping going on in this T side. We're not seeing a lot of widespread defaults like we did from Fiend in the first half. Just playing together as a unit with this lane control.
Flash over the AKs in. Sparrow. Nice set up out. Flashes will go over. Further flashes in from Han. Going to try to see if he can peek forward and catch these players. It's Jedka with his kill. Han and Victor responding. PHR and Marcos get their own responsives back. And it'll be a 3-on-2 for Wisl. Bomb should get picked up and planted. Rotations are a little bit late for the CT side. And they're already being covered off by the AK. Burst fire. Should see the bomb plant. Red Star's creeping closer still. Dreamer. Can't see anything. Does Marcos take the swing? Yes, he does. Perfect timing. Just as the AWP unscoped and PHR catches the last. It's map and match point for Wisla Krakow.
You couldn't ride it, could you? That is the most awful timing for Fiend and maybe the best timing in the world for Wisla. PHR and Marcos just showing up in this post-plant. These two guys really delivering when it matters the most. And for Marcos, he was all right in map 1 and map 2. He was hitting some shots. He wasn't up there with the right top right here on Ancient. He is showing up at a level we have not seen in the series.
And he has turned this up for Wisla. Map and match point. 8 match points for the Polish T side, and Fiend cannot afford to put a foot wrong. If they do, they're as good as done. And Dreamer will be the first contact defender. Can he get a kill in? Yes, he can. Goofy to fall. Rephase back for Jedko. Will catch him all the same. And the back of Temple will be held by him and him alone, needing no backup at all. Han still creeping in for the backstab, though. He's a known entity. And PHR can take him back, but it's only one trade.
That's a good watch. Just be able to work with those sound cues, keep eyes on the backstab. And for Fiends, they've over-rotated to A. Now that that backstab has not come through successful, they've got to start splitting players. They've got to start moving back over to B. And even Red Star thinking to himself, okay, I might make an info play. And the AWP strikes again. We're back to a 3v3.
Can't see the CT crossing back over at Temple. Bubble will try and re-establish some presence. Molotov's in. Marcos keeping the CT suppressed for now. His head's been seen here. He keeps his head ducked down against Bubble. Oh, pulling out his knife, but keeping himself in play. Meanwhile, the walkout for Sparrow will start coming in towards the B site. M4 of Victor looking to challenge on towards him. The AK looks the wrong way at the wrong time. So back to the advantage of Fiend will go. Bomb's going to try to commit fast into the site. But PHR's the only player with HP. Marcos has 10 to his name. He can cut off rotations. May be able to catch the player over at the donut entrance. But 15 seconds, PHR's got to do the heavy lifting. Good shot on Red Star. 2-on-2. PHR to win this fight against Victor's going to be everything towards the T-side favor. Caught looking the wrong way. Back turned. And that'll be it. That'll be the 8th for Fiend.
Oh, it's a shame. Marcos does very well to battle out the rotates, and they know that kill has to come in immediately. If Victor is able to drop that bomb, that round's over. So from there, okay, let's just try and play it into the B side. Dreamer, what a hold this was from Temple, just wasting time, finding impact. Han looked as if he was really going to be able to find more in that. It doesn't quite happen, and for Fiends, they recover the round.
Tactical timeout called in by Wisla this time, thankfully. Recognizing that Fiend is still dangerous, still a very capable team, and if they take this away from them, if they manage to get a comeback into OT, that turns into a map and series victory for the Bulgarians, then it would be very upsetting for Wisl. They don't want to let that happen again. It's happened twice in this series. Only once were they able to shut it down, so let's not make it 3. Let's close it out here with another gun by back in for the T side.
Now, could see some pace behind them. Something we haven't really seen a lot of on this T side is just some rushes or some early quick contact plays. Sparrow getting blinded by so many of those counter flashes, and it means that he can't just quickly run into that cheater position. Actually gets halted for a while.
Nice nade in from Han. Damage on the Sparrow and Goofy. Early tags on Marcos as well, compounding a pretty decent economical HP basis, I should say, for Fiend. No casualties as of yet, but they could come in relatively easy against these players.
Now, even with Fiend winning that last round, the buy's still not great. Having that MP9 out for Han, a lack of util, a couple of kits, Marcos is expecting an over-aggressive play, an info moment to come through from Fiend. Now, they are playing 3 on this B site, and for Wisl, it still feels as if it's a lot of intent to go B eventually.
Being quiet about this, and Fiend is starting to second-guess themselves. They were rotating away. Fire in at ramp and cave, otherwise indicate. Delbo wants to fall back out of the position here. What's the call? What are Fiend trying to set up?
You've got to imagine some more nades to just slow down this B exec, get it out to that cave position, out to ramp, and if it goes down directly, Wisl have just got to have to go through those nades.
Incendiary suppression for now. 30 seconds, Wisl. Oh, Han peeks forward to the SMD and catches Goofy. That's a big kill to find. Sparrow looking for a little bit more. Will swing out. See his man. Sprays a bit awkward. Bubble. Corner going to get checked by Sparrow. We do so. M4 will take him down. Jedka with a responsive 3-on-3. And they push further forward to this. One CT on site. Caught off by Jedka for his double up. Need to get the bomb down here. Back a totem. Red Star might spray through the smoke. Will he do so? No, he won't. He will look for him after the bomb goes down. And his Dreamer gets the AWP shot in. It's all on PHR. Back at Wood. Frag found. And it's 9 for Fiend.
Well contained to come in for the Bulgarians. They start getting overwhelmed from that cave position. Han doing the best he can to try and stall. It's really just Dreamer and Red Star putting the pressure on as soon as that bomb goes down. There's no way Wisl can get comfortable. There's no way they can reposition out from that sort of wood position or from default itself. So you just have to try and take the fights as they come. And for Fiend, they hit their shots. Dreamer backs up well with the AWP.
Wisl having closing issues once again. We mentioned yesterday how they had issues when it came to winning out the maps in the series against Sinners, and we'll have it once again right here and now. Tactical pause taken by Wisl because they're still just 1 round away. Shut down this comeback for Fiend. When's that going to happen? It probably won't happen in this one. Looking like they're going to go pistols in this round. Some players that could afford the rifles, but they want to get the full guns out in the next one, so he should see at least 10 for Fiend. What can Wisl do in this?
Yeah, you've got to imagine they're trying to get as many of the AKs out of the hands as possible, which has got into the hands of Red Star, and still give yourself enough backing where this round could still be winnable with the amount of investment they've brought forward of them. A fair bit of util to work with going into the 27th, and you just think to yourself, okay, what can they really set themselves up with? They've got to lurk out for PHR in A main. Outside of that, though, everyone is in lane or outside of ramp.
Push forward of Han, Sparrow, Tech 9. Great flick. Kill easy. Man down already. It is a pistol, though, so again, I can't take too much away from Wisl in this particular round. Means look to frag. Look for the round itself, and for Wisl losing 1 man already, just hoping they can get something here on the beast execution. They'll go for it early. Smokes on, flashes. M4 spray. The Victor does get caught blinded, so Victor will be a casualty. Goofy credited with the kill. Bubble struggles against the 2 T-side players, so it's a 3v3. Post-plant should come in.
Oh, they're going to sandwich in hard. This is an easy pick to come out for PHR, and that's the man advantage. They've got backlines control. They know where the AWP is of Dreamer.
Surely they won't win this on an eco or a half buy or whatever you want to call it. No, they won't. Dreamers found the kill out, and PHR stands alone. M4 picked up. Bomb in his full sight. Back at ramp. Dreamer's going to check it, tap it once. Try force PHR on a peek. Will he wide face? Yes, he will. Get that one frag. 1v1. Red Star. AK versus M4. Going to get aggressive. Wrap him around the corner. And have plenty of time with the kit in his pouch to hold the 10th round for Fiends.
Jeez, they just want to play together. They know 3v2 advantage. Let's give up individual duels. Let's work together as the two of us. And they get collided by the orb. The clutch comes forward from Red Star. These rounds are really coming down to the wire for Fiend.
Wisl still struggling to close. Still allowing Fiend a way back in. Opportunity at this comeback. Still looking at the OT. 5 rounds to get there. I just sat back here. We've got Han in the cheater angle that could catch him off guard, that could look for some sort of pick back. Right now is Wisl playing out the mid default, much more mid-centric as opposed to lane.
Yeah, pressure's starting to get applied now to the poles. That again, it's another situation where they've had plenty of map points to work with, and they're struggling to just get it over the line. Marcos searching for that pick to come through. Out to Donut. It's going to be Red Star to win out that first advantage, and Fiend is starting to get some movement.
One pick found, trading from Sparrow, however, is just as good and efficient on Han. Headshot, clotheslines him out of cheater, 4-on-4. One back, Molotov's in, Victor. Waiting on the B site is the Orpa Marcos. Looks to lean, but won't see anything directly on the A site. They're so passive on this A defense.
I really hope they bring the bomb A. You've got a player in Donut, and you've got to walk out on A main. You've got to work with the information you've got. And now for Sparrow falling, surely this has to be the play into A. Time is relatively low. Someone needs to act to get an entry.
Red Star looking to swing. Marcos Orp has him on lock. He's thinking he might not be there, though. Will turn his attention away. Perfect chance for Red Star to strike. He won't do it. Molotov down, swings ahead, gets PHR. Marcos with a responsive. So, 3v2. They have the sight, and they don't have the man advantage here. Dreamer's finally going to flip back on towards Marcos. Here's Goofy in the 1v3. Smoked away from Donut. Going to try push ahead of it. Bubble's going to evade vision for now. The bomb could get tapped. 1 kill found. Looking in for the second man, but Victor's going to get a little bit closer. Headshot onto him, and it will be another defuse for Fiend.
Hey, you could just see there, as soon as Sparrow gets dealt with, they're down by a man. They're trying to get into that A site, and even for Red Star, he's able to hold and find a fair bit of damage out from that sort of backline temple position. Now, this was the lurk play that just did not come up, and Red Star, even when you think the PHR is facing with the angle with the AWP, you would expect no one to fall on that T side, and that just goes the other way. Goofy tried and set up for himself for the clutch, doesn't quite come through. And Fiend, this is now 4 in a row from them.
Wisl must be starting to get nervous. Must be starting to realize that this is complete mirror image, the exact same thing as what happened on Overpass and on Inferno. A lead held, Fiend starting to catch up though. At least they have to get through the OTs. There's that to fall back on. But Vista would much rather close it out in 16.
And it's not even a one-off. Like you mentioned, every single map in the series so far, at least they've got the lead to work with. They've got that advantage of rounds. Another play into the A site. You've got an aggressive Red Star in Donut.
Taps to the AKs, M4's back in, continuing the burst fire against Goofy. Goofy catches the frag, 5-on-4. Wisl overwhelmed the A defensive, backstabbed him down from Bubble, could catch off one, indeed he will get the kill on Goofy for a responsive, but the rest of the CTs are being accounted for. Jedka still falls, Han buys his chance, but Sparrow takes it right back from him as Bubble falls as well. It's all on Victor, 1v3, PHR catches him, and it's 16-11 for Vista to finally close out Ancient and get us the series win for them. They're going to the grand finals at the V4 Future Sports Festival International 1.